We are on the home stretch, guys. Like, I can't even begin to explain how excited I am. You guys have come so far, and I'm super stoked. So we're going to bust into chapter 11 right now. We're talking about subjects and objects, and this is going to be a kind of sad one. This chapter deals with funeral proceedings that would have happened in ancient Rome back in the day. We have, obviously, if you'll look over here, we have a series of videos to watch. Basically, it's just the nitty gritty of how all of that works. And then grammar, we're going to be talking about subjects and objects, okay? We've talked a little bit about how words can change with respect to their endings, okay? We know that in verbs, let's look at this really quick. I'll check this one out really quick. Adjectives change endings to match the nouns they describe. We know this. Let's see here. Annulus pretiosus est. It is a valuable ring. Let's see here. Annulus aureus est. It is a ring of gold. So those are things where you see the us at the end changes because it is masculine. Tunica non pulchra est. Remember that one. That's our favorite one. The dress is not pretty. So that's how the endings change for adjectives. Now, verbs have different endings depending on who's doing the actions. We know that if I said lego, that means I read, right? If I said legit, that means he reads. If I said legis, that means you read, so you should be reading. If I said spectamus, we are watching. That amus at the end is what actually indicates who's doing what, right? And then nouns also change endings depending on the job that they're doing in the sentence. In this case, we're going to be talking about a specific set of vocabulary that has to do with the story at hand, and we'll go through the story in just a second. All right, let's check out our vocabulary first. We're going to check in on our vocabulary. The first part one of our vocabulary is epistulum. Epistulum is a letter, okay? And it has this little star right here because the ending here has changed because in the story it is an object. Okay, so epistulum is the object and it is letter. And when we go through, you'll see what I'm talking about. Accipit means receives. Okay, accipit. It also means he receives. Look at that T right there. He, she, or it receives. Accipit, sorry. Tristissimus, very sad. Now this is a word that we actually use in French as well. Triste, which means sad. And then mortua means dead. Curat, she looks after. Equum means horse. Now, if we remember, hold up just a second. If we remember back in the previous chapters of the book, we heard the word equus, right? And equus means horse as well. But in this case, the ending changes because in the story, the horse is an object of the sentence. Now, when I say object, I'm not talking like, an object. I'm talking about it is the object of the sentence, also known as the direct object. Okay? Plaustrum, which means cart. And then parat means he prepares. All right, now let's look over here to part 2 of our vocabulary. Again, if you'll see the stars here, these stars indicate that we're talking about the objects in the sentence. So the first one is coronam, which means wreath. Okay, and if you'll think of a coronation is when they put the king's crown on. Think of the word crown. And they would have put a wreath or something like that, maybe, I don't know. Lucernam is a lamp. Okay. Titulum is inscription. Think of the word title. Sculpit, he carves. It could also be she carves, it carves, whatever. But think of the word to sculpt. Okay. Olam, which is pot, as in like an urn almost. We'll see it in the story. And then deponunt, they put down, deponunt. And then sepulchrum, which is a tomb. And then ponit, he plays. All right, so those are our vocabulary words. Write them down in your journal. You're going to need them, okay? Remember that your test over chapter 11 and 12 is on May 20th. Don't forget. All right, here we go. Let's just dive into the picture story really quick. There's bad news that's coming, okay? So, Candidus epistulam accipit. Okay, so let's take this word epistulam out for just a minute. Candidus accipit. Candidus receives, and then epistulam is what he receives. So that's the object that he receives. It is the object of the sentence. So Candidus is our subject, accipit is our verb, and object is right here, epistulam. So Candidus epistulam accipit. Okay, he receives a letter. Candidus receives a letter. Okay, the next one. Barates, remember Barates is Candidus's friends from Iboracum. Baratus tristissimus est, quod regina mortua est. Okay, Baratus tristissimus est. Remember, if you're looking at this phrase right here, this is one phrase that is two phrases combined. Okay, two phrases combined with a conjunction word. That's why we're kind of keeping things together here. Barates tristissimus est, quod, because regina mortua est. So Barates is very sad, and you can see that from the teardrop right here. Baratimus is very sad, or Barates is very sad because Regina, his wife, has passed away. All right, and then we go on to the next one, which is Candidus tells Flavius and Lepidina the sad news, of course. And so they decide to travel together to Iboracum to attend Regina's funeral. Candidus will travel with Flavius and Lepidina to look after them on their journey. And the other slaves will stay behind to take care of the rest of the family. And that's pretty much how it would have worked. Not everybody would have gone. All right. Now the next part of our sentence is Lepidina candidum curat. So in this case, we've got Lepidina is our subject, curat is our verb, which is takes care of, and candidum is Candidus. His ending changes because he is the object of the sentence. Okay? Next one. Corinthus equum and plaustrum parat. So Corinthus is our subject. Okay, he's the dude doing the job. Parat is prepares. Okay, and now we have two objects in our sentence, equum and plaustrum. So Candidus prepares the horse and cart. Okay, and then our last one, and I know this is going fast, but you feel free to pause whenever you need to. Pandora familiam curat. So Pandora takes care of the family. Okay, so that is our first part of our sentence of our story. So basically, what we've got here is we've got Candidus receives a letter, and if we'll look at that, the letter epistulam, the ending has changed to the am at the end here. Candidus accepts the letter. The letter is the object, so that is the ending for that one. We have Candidum here. You know his name is Candidus. You know this. It ends in a US, but because he becomes the object of the sentence, that is why his ending changes to um. Candidum. Okay? We've seen this before in sentences, but it hasn't been addressed. So this is probably the more grammatically hard chapter so far in our book, but not to worry. I will walk you through it. All right? Equum, we know that the word equus means horse, but because the horse is now the object of the sentence, it becomes equum. Okay, plaustrus, that would be a cart, but because cart is the object of the sentence, it changes the ending to plaustrum. Okay, and that's basically how that one works. And then family becomes, instead of it being familia, which is family, it's familiam, because familiam becomes the object of our sentence. Okay, all right, and we'll have some identifying things to use with that as well. All right, we're going to copy these sentences down. You're going to underline the verb. I want you to draw a star over the subject and an O over the object. I want you to take a few minutes and do this. Actually, I'm actually going to finish this part 1 video for you. This will be done. It'll make it a little bit easier to upload. I want you to copy these down. Right here, you're going to pause the video as soon as I tell you to, and I want you to copy these down, and I want you to write them out. And I want, not in Latin, I just want you to copy them down the way that they are. And I want you to write the subject, the verb, and the object. I want you to identify them. You're going to do the subject, you're going to underline the verb, draw a star over the subject, and then draw an O over the object. So star for subject, O for object, and underline the verb. Okay? All right, so I want you to take some time really quick. Go ahead and do that. I want you to, as soon as I tell you to pause, that's your chance to pause. Write these down in your journals. I want to see them on Monday. So write these down in your journals, and then we are going to go back over them on Monday. All right, so I'm going to sign off here in just a second. You guys write these down, and I will see you guys a little bit later. Chapter 11 video part 2 is coming up next. So, ready? Get set, pause.